We are crossing live to Absrod Oval, where the Scodfather will speak to the press.
I heard that he is in a grumpy mood.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel, and thank you for joining. Now, I don't usually do videos on Fridays because I used to do the Thursday night press conferences, but today we had to do a video because we've had to sack a player. We have to make some changes. And we're going to go through yesterday's games because it was disaster again. And I'm going to explain it to you now, everything. Just calm it down. Before we go to my team, let's look at what happened last night. Zach Merritt scored the 172 Supercoach points. Because if you can recall, 2 weeks ago, we had Nick Dacos scored the 171 Supercoach points. We didn't have him. People captained him or vice-captained him. They went nuts. Last week, who was it? It was Gorn last week, 171. We didn't have him. Now, every week there seems to be a player that scores 170, and it's not one of ours. I can't work this out. Okay, how can not one of my players do this? Although my player that I brought in, Sherry, did score the 146. Well, everyone owns Sherry anyway. I mean, we just brought him in because we wouldn't have even got this. But let's go through Essendon now. And Zach Merritt, I want to show you this heat map because not only did he score 172, he gave you a little love heart with it. As you can see, that nice little love heart, okay? It tells you that he loves you, and he scored you 172. There's also... he would have given me the finger, the bird, okay? Because for those that don't own him, okay, probably his next heat map's going to be a birdie, okay? Because we don't own him. Because now his heat maps have themes. Okay, I can't work this out. Who has a heat map with a theme on it? Well, Zach Merritt does. You know, other players at Essendon that were really well. We had Zach Reid scored the 102. That's sensational, and I'm going to keep him all year. There's no point in trading him out for another player. I'm happy to cop 10 points less if the Primas are scoring, say, a 110 and my Zach Reid is scoring a 102. I'll take that. So Zach Reid with the 102, a magnificent performance. And now with Ridley down, okay, because Ridley got injured, it now means that Zach Reid probably going to have even more disposals around that back line. Okay, so Zach Reid in sensational form. Now, Nick Martin scored the 98. He had a very impressive game again. So if you look at his heat map, Nick Martin's, he starts half forward but plays in the defence, even to kick-ins. Okay, so Nick Martin had another good game, but the ceiling isn't there. So, I mean, you can get a Nick Martin for 550k, whatever he costs, or you can start with Zach Reid, which we did, or a lot of you, pretty much all of us did. It only costs 113k, so what a bargain Zach Reid is. Now at Essendon, the Goldie, Todd Goldstein, were considering him, okay, and I was even considering bringing in Goldstein this week and not bringing in Sherry. Now, that would have been a 100-point difference in scoring, so lucky we didn't do that, but that was probably never in consideration anyway. But we're actually considering Marshall, who we're going to see come up tonight. But Goldie with the 49, even though he's priced at 370k, I don't think I'm interested, okay? Sherry absolutely dominated him, okay, absolutely. And you can see that even the hit-outs, 39-17. Sherry is a monster. Okay, he's a dangerous man, Sherry. Now, we'll forget about Sherry for now. Pryor scored you the 50. Okay, he didn't do much. Kako the 38. Okay, and Tassatsis scored you the 37. Okay, now, if I was a Tassatsis owner, okay, I would have been so excited that he's playing. I would have held him this long, knowing he's going to come back, okay? And when he comes back, what does he do? Goes and scores a 37. I would be so upset because in that 37, he had 16 disposals, okay? So, mind you, pretty much 6 kicks and 10 handballs. At one stage, it was 1 kick and 8 handballs, something like that. So he must have improved his kicking a bit more, had a few more kicks, but massive disappointment for the owners of Tassatsis. Okay, they'd be so upset, and there's no guarantees he'll play next week either. And also, we did mention that Ridley got injured. Now, if we move over to North Melbourne and Sherry, okay, now 25 disposals for a ruckman is massive. Okay, now he just grabs the ball from the ruck and handballs it. He's a beast. He's going to finish number 1 ruck end of the year, and I'm just so happy that I brought him in, okay? Because I would have smashed the TV last night. It would have cost me over $2,000 to watch this game, because if I saw Sherry the way he played and I didn't own him last night, I would have been so upset. So luckily we saved $2,000 with the Sherry trade. So it saved me a lot of money. Now, Sheezels. Okay, I want to talk about Sheezels. Okay, we mentioned he had a 93 average, 92.9 it was, as a half forward, and he scored that 140 in defence. Last night, I listened to Clarko talk, okay? I was angry, okay? I wanted to listen to what Clarko's got to say, and he made me more angry, because what he said was unbelievable, okay? He said, Sheezels, he won a best and fairest playing halfback. Well, hello, okay, good morning, okay. I could have told him that, okay. Now, so he says Sheezels should play in his favourite position, which is halfback, okay. He said he would love Sheezels to play half forward, but why play him half forward when he's won a best and fairest at halfback? That's virtually what he said. And then he commented about Rosie, because he was talking about my team, okay. So he talks about Rosie and how Rosie made the switch to halfback, okay. So I think they're watching my team. They watch whatever I do, and then they change their players around. So Sheezels looks like he has a permanent halfback role, because we had a brainstorm from the coach, okay? Clarko had a brainstorm and decided, why not play Sheezels where he won a best and fairest, okay? Well, why do you think we picked him from the start? So he could play halfback, not half forward. So why play him half forward? It makes no sense. Anyway, common sense has prevailed, and looks like Clarko's now going to play Sheezels at halfback. So now we have to find a way to bring back Sheezels into the team. And I have no idea how I'm going to do this, because it's ruined everything. All my plans, whatever I do this year, the coaches, they finally wake up. Anyway, that's what's going to happen now. We got Powell, scored the 110, Simpkin, the 94. Where did Powell play? Let's have a look at Powell's positioning. Looks like he was more of a winger. Okay, so Powell played on the wing. Simpkin played more midfield. Okay, so Simpkin had more midfield minutes this week. Uniac scored the 101, had 28 disposals. This is a bad game for him, okay, to be honest, because in a close game last year, Uniac would go 150s, because he would get all his points in the last minutes, okay, last 5 minutes. He didn't do that. This week it was Sheezels that got a lot of points in the last 5 minutes, playing kick to kick. Caleb Daniel also had a lot of points in that last 5 minutes. So luckily for us, because Caleb Daniel was having a stinker. Okay, so he came back hard. Will Phillips, okay, came into the team. Why would you bring in Will Phillips into the team? He's the best tagger they got, and not tag Zach Merritt, and then you lose by 3 points. What's wrong with Clarko? Okay, why would you not tag Zach Merritt when you got one of the best taggers around? Okay, in Phillips. Not once did he even consider it. Okay, well, whereas next week, I can tell you right now, they're going to tag Rail, and Phillips is going to be the man, because Rail is owned by Abs Magic. Okay, Clarko knows that Zach Merritt, Abs Magic doesn't have him. Okay, so he didn't bother tagging Zach Merritt. He'll only tag the players that I've got. It's just virtually. He's playing against me, okay? It's what it is. He's looking at my channel. I know Clarko watches my channel, okay? And congrats, Clarko, for putting Sheezels in the half-back line with that brainstorm that you had, okay? I was very happy for you. Now, Finn O'Sullivan had a good 5 minutes, last 5 minutes as well, scored the 68. McKercher is the one that's confusing me right now, very confusion. McKercher, his best role is actually halfback. as well. Okay, now everyone's best role is halfback apparently, but McKercher is also a decent halfback, and I don't understand why McKercher's not playing halfback as well. Okay, they should put him there because he's not starring anywhere else, and he's a young kid. Okay, let him learn the craft a bit more. Put him on halfback. Okay, McKercher, and that's pretty much it for North Melbourne. I'm just very upset that that Shields got that roll back the minute I sacked him. Okay, and now he's scoring 120s every week, and he'll continue doing this until I bring him in, and then he'll move to the half forward line. Okay, so I'm gonna ruin it for everyone very soon when I bring Shields back and he goes back to half forward. Okay, it's gonna happen. I can tell you right now. Just calm it down. Now going with our trades, we've made a change. Okay, we've brought in. Well, let's put him over here for now. Trent Rivers. Okay, now don't ask me why. Okay, because if you look at our bench, okay, have a look at the bench. Stone got dropped. Okay, Payton got injured. Well, now he's emergency. Okay, he's not going to play. I don't think so. Okay, Moraes got dropped. Nevitt is injured. Gross can't get into the team, okay, because the team is that good, they can't get into it because the West Coast are flying right now, and there's no room for young guns like Gross to play. So there's no room for Gross. They're going to play all the oldies, okay. So why blood the youngsters when you can play Spuds? So West Coast, they just got to play the Spuds. We even got rid of players that weren't playing like Camporeale, Hall, so we could bring in players that will play that aren't playing. Okay, so Gross isn't getting a game. Okay, we started Boyd. He's been emergency every single week. He's emergency again, and he's not going to play. Okay, so Boyd's there. Cleary is playing, but we have I've just looped him here, as you can see, with Armstrong, and Armstrong is just the captain this week. Otherwise, I'm keeping Armstrong for that reason, but Cleary, hopefully he plays. Surely he plays, okay? But Johnson, he can't get a game because our Melbourne forward line is that strong, okay, that there's no room for Johnson. And Johnson also being the second ruck, I thought he'll play a lot of games this year, but it's not happening. So he's on the bubble. I don't want to get rid of him because in case the minute I do get rid of him, I know he's going to play. He's always the emergency, except for this week. He's not emergency. Kicked 3 goals last week, 5 behinds, can't get a game. I can't come it down. So we have no players on the bench. Okay, nothing. Okay, so with nothing here. So what do we do now? Okay, so we had Oliver here. All right. Well, we swapped Sherry to Nank. Okay, so we know that move. So we had Oliver here. I was not planning on trading at Oliver. I was planning on trading out one of these rookies that aren't playing. That was the plan. So it probably would have been Stone or would have been Payton. Someone's not playing for a playing rookie. So I've got to have one more rookie on field. Well, not even on field, even on the bench. Just an extra rookie. But no, Oliver goes out, okay, because he's not feeling well. Well, now Abs Magic, we're not feeling well either. So, well, for starters, I want to wish Oliver all the best, and I hope he recovers and feels well soon, okay? So it's nothing against Oliver, okay? I have nothing against him. We have $440K to spend, all right? Now, what can we get for $440K? Because we don't have much cash. We're a poor club, okay? We're not like some of you that are rich, okay? Here we're poor. If we go to the forward line, players that I can afford, all right? Who can I get? Players I can afford. Who can I get? Now, I can bring in a rookie, okay? But what am I doing? I'm making my team worse. So, I'll have to bring in a primo, all right? That's the whole idea. Now, if we go by averages, we could have brought in Peter Wright. He scored the 81. But he's 375K. He had a break-in of minus 11. I don't think Wright would have been the right answer. Okay, even though it says Peter Wright, I think it would have been Peter Wrong, okay, if I brought him in. So it would have been a wrong answer. So that wouldn't have been him. It could bring in Bailey Humpty, okay, but how do you trust Humpty? Even if we're breaking of 20, we've seen what Humpty has done in the past. His history has shown that he's capable of scoring a 64, 74, 48. The role is in there. He needs to kick goals, okay, and that's how, for Sydney, he scored well by kicking these goals. We don't think Humpty's going to go nuts every single week, so Humpty is out of the question. is there anyone else that we could have brought in? Maybe we could have brought in Simpkin. Okay, maybe that was the right move. But Simpkin also hasn't done set the world on fire. He's been playing forward. The last 2 weeks scored a 78 and a 53. So how do I bring in Simpkin? So it's impossible. And keep in mind, Wardlaw was out this week, so Wardlaw's back next week. So Simpkin probably goes back to the forward line. So Simpkin wasn't the answer. And there's no other answers, okay? The only other answer, well, I could bring in Maric, okay? But everyone's trading out Maric. Why would I bring in Maric? Well, everyone's trading him out. So Maric wasn't the answer. I should have brought in Maric when it was 280k, or even 220k. But no, I think about it was 400k. So Maric wasn't the answer. Luke Parker, not the answer. Dylan Moore, I can consider, okay? Here's one option, Dylan Moore. Now, with Dylan Moore, he's playing Richmond as well, so I could go nuts. The only problem with Dylan Moore is he's a player that I would want to have when I've got a full primo team and he's the 23rd, so that I can take out these scores of 36, 57s, 84s. That's when I would want Dylan Moore. I wouldn't want Dylan Moore in my team when I don't have a full primo team and he scores like a rookie on some weeks. So he's not the answer for me, Dylan Moore. So I'll go further down. Jeremy Cameron, same as Dylan Moore. He's going to have good weeks and bad weeks. So I need someone that's more consistent, okay? So that's why I've chosen, okay, as you can see here, Trent Rivers. Now, Trent Rivers, I'm not comfortable with this either, so let me explain to you that now, okay? So it's not like I've gone out of my way and said I have to bring in Trent Rivers. It's actually that I have the budget, okay? So we've got a problem with budget. Now, Trent Rivers scores 73, 49, 101, 37, 77, then a 110 and 115. So now we have to go to the lab and work out what's going on here. Why did he score 101 against Gold Coast? Why did he score 110 against Freo and Richmond, or 115? Then why did he go so badly in the other games? So let's go to the lab and work out Trent Rivers, because his break even, all right, is 24. Okay, so it's a good start. We can use him as we're not going to keep him. Okay, so if you're thinking we're going to keep Trent Rivers, that's out of the question. That's not going to happen. But we can make cash from him. Okay, so for example, if we go down here, all right, if he continues, actually it's not working, the app. Okay, let me refresh this. Okay, let's do a refresh. Trent Rivers, if he continues scoring these 110s, okay, let's go back over here, season stats. Okay, projected, okay, let's go 110. Right, now we're not expecting 110s every week from him, but if he does go at 110, okay, before you know it, he's made 100k, okay, in a matter of 4 weeks, so 422 to 518. He's made that 100k. If he goes at 100, okay, let's go to 100, project. He makes maybe 80k, okay? So it's not as that. So we need a 110 from him. However, we've got to keep in mind that Oliver is out, so maybe Trent Rivers goes in the midfield, okay? Now, if that happens, and as a full-time midfielder, he has gone 140 before. Okay, let me show you something. Now, we go to CBAs for Melbourne, and we go to Trent Rivers, and we take note that in round 1, he had 31% CBAs. Round 5, 31% CBAs. So those 2 games at 31%. And he had a few CBAs against Gold Coast, maybe just one, okay? And against Geelong, he had no CBAs. Now, this game against Geelong, okay, he played in defence, okay? Now, and he had a really bad game. It was really bad. But in this game against Geelong, the entire Melbourne team had a bad game, okay? Every single one of them. None of them scored, the defenders. So I'm taking out this game as just a bad game, all right? Now, if we go into Trent Rivers here, go into Supercoach, all right, in round 3, okay, we can see it here, all right? He scores a 115, 110, 101. All right, now if we go to this game here in round 1, scored only the 73. If we take a look at his heat map, we can see that he's pretty much a bit of halfback, okay, a bit of the wing. He had 31% CBAs. He didn't do that well, okay, so that was that game. He scored in that particular game, okay, round 1, scored the 73. The following week, scored the 49. Now, in this game, again, a bit of halfback, a bit of everything. Didn't do much. The following week, scored a 101. Now, in this game, and this was against Gold Coast. So, against Gold Coast, as you can see, he's full on at halfback now. Stationary at halfback. And then probably taking a dash along the wings, okay? He only had one CBA this game against Gold Coast, scored the 101. Now, Gold Coast do concede points to defenders, so that's why he scored it. Now, Geelong, he played at GMHBA Stadium, a very narrow ground, not ideal for defenders, so he didn't do much, scored the 37. Against Essendon at Adelaide Oval, scored the 77, had 31% CBAs. Okay, so he's more as a midfielder, and as you can see, he has played more as a midfielder with 31% CBAs, only the 77. So that's not good. Okay, now last week against Freo, he played halfback flank, it says here, and as you can see, it's halfback flank, a bit along the wings. Well, this was actually 2 weeks ago. It's a decent score, but it's actually not the role that I like. But last week, when he scored the 115 against Richmond, it's that halfback again. So it looks like he's moved more to the halfback, but his scoring is going to be inconsistent. He's going to score these 110s. He's going to score the odd 70 when he goes in the midfield, has 30%. So it's not an ideal situation where I want him. I'm not trying to sell him because I know it's a massive gamble, but I don't really have a choice. Now, just as I was getting myself all settled in and talking myself into bringing in the man from the river, okay, we had a tweet come out from Alexia Pesce, okay, now, and she's written here, Luke Beveridge has revealed that defender Liam Jones has a calf injury, picked it up at training, could miss up to a month. So now what does this mean? This means now the Buslinger is back in business, okay, now, if Buslinger is back in business and we want to also pick up Huswaite, that means we need 2 rookies, which is a good news, but we have a problem. The problem is this, okay, if we trade out Oliver and bring in Huswaite, the bench stays the same, but we have 320k in the bank, but nothing, Huswaite plays, maybe scores a 70. We were anticipating that hopefully the man from the river was going to score a 110. So maybe we'll lose 40 points, okay? And we will find out very soon how many points exactly that we lose. And maybe in hindsight, this would be the correct decision anyway, because we can't bring in Buslinger because we can't play Buslinger, okay, this week. And we need to play a midfielder because we have no spots. We have one player short because Oliver's not playing. So this was the move that I was thinking. However, if I'm going to bring in, if I'm going to trade out Oliver, what if he plays next week? So what? I could also trade him out next week. So what if I keep Oliver and just trade out Marias, who's not playing? I mean, I can trade out Nevitt, but I know Nevitt is in the best 22 and he's just injured, so maybe he recovers soon. I know Gross, who can't get a game in the star-studded West Coast midfield, maybe he can get a game soon. However, Marias got dropped and he hasn't really been performing that well. I mean, if you look at his previous scores, they're all in the 40s, a 30, couple of 150, I think, so he's not really doing much anyway, so he's not really going to go up much in value. So the logical thing now is to keep Oliver, all right? So I'll make these trades. I'm going to keep Oliver, and we're going to trade out we're going to trade out Marias and now bring in Huswaite. So this is now going to be the trade, and this gives us 55k in the bank, okay? It allows us also to next week then decide, do we want to trade Oliver and bring in let's say Chisels, or do we want to upgrade Flynn and bring in the St Kilda ruckman, Marshall. We're going to find out more about Marshall tonight, so we'll make that decision anyway. For example, if Marshall goes 120 again, definitely it's going to be Marshall, okay? So that'll be a decision I'll make as well. So at the moment, next week's trades is going to either be Stone or Payton out, and we're going to bring, or we can, probably Payton or Stone out, and we're going to bring Bustlinger into defence, and that'll give us cash to then work out what we're going to do for Oliver. So that's going to be the plan of attack right now. Things have changed, just coming down. Anyway, that's going to be all for today. Thank you for joining, and remember one thing. It's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. Ciao for now.
That's all, folks.